Smarks in here, the Smarks in here, yeah.
I walk into a room, boom, 5 moves of doom. I reference Cena so much, I'm sure you assume that I got a man crush, but I swear it's just random, not fandom. Ignore the lifelike mannequin. You can't see it. I didn't see it. Next to me in my Kia, and drive somewhere scenic to watch the sunset in Phoenix. Share a box of Kleenex, then leave it in the middle of a bee's nest.
Yo, 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 it's your boy Sean Puff. I'm here with my co-host Wapo and our special guests tonight, Amy Lynn, Matt T, and Allison Black.
What up? What up?
Hey. Where you got Allison Black? Are they frozen over there? They're frozen over there.
No, sorry, I was. He when he goes on the screen to do the everybody, he just freezes. So we try to catch him in the funniest moments and then take pictures. That's what we like to do. But anyways, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. I feel like we're gonna have a good show. If you guys have been tuning in, we kind of bounce around and do different things. Week 1, our first show this season, we started out and we did a review of the Brawl for All. We looked at it from a fresh point of view, something that was supposed to be controversial. Ended up deciding it was a pretty good actual tournament. Second week, we did Royal Rumble 1992 when Ric Flair started at number 4 and went all the way on to win the Rumble and become the WWF at the time champion. And tonight, we actually switched topics. So the original topic was supposed to be a roundtable discussion on is more creative control better for wrestling and does it equal better wrestling? We decided that just the Mythbuster idea is just, it's going to be too much. It's going to, like, if we're doing Mythbusters, we're going to be on here for 3 hours talking. Everyone's got all their thoughts and ideas on it. So we decided to switch it up, and we're actually going to go to a case file. So week 3 was always going to be case files. Today's case file is going to be what I call the Saskatoon screw job. It was the night that Ric Flair dropped the WWF Championship to Bret Hitman Hart in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada.
I only know that. I didn't know about that place because Brock Lesnar has a place in Saskatchewan or something. That's the only reason how I know about it. Yeah, he does.
So the weird part about this was that this didn't happen televised. It happened at a house show in Saskatoon. It ended up being a Coliseum home video exclusive, right? And World Championship. Ric Flair drops it to Bret Hart. Bret Hart's first title reign, and nobody sees it. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to break it down. We're going to look at what actually happened. We're going to talk about what people have said, the reasons behind it, because it's not often that you just see a World Championship change hands, not on television. So
that match actually was 30 minutes long. That match was 30 minutes long. And
that was a good match, though.
It was a good match. It was a good match.
It was a good match. It was. So I want to start with that. So Amy sent something to me today, and I looked into it, and Ric Flair said, this is years later, Amy, why don't you say it? Because you sent it to me. I want you to tell us what it said.
So Ric Flair was doing an interview, and he said that the night before, during a house show, he had a match with the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior dropped him with a vertical suplex, caused an inner ear injury, caused something in his inner ear to rupture, had horrible vertigo. So he was going into this match with Bret Hart with horrible inner ear problems, horrible vertigo, dizzy the whole match. And watching the match back, you wouldn't even know it.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
He called it a horrible match in the interview. He's like, that's why the match was so bad. I'm watching it. I'm like, what match is he talking about? Because it wasn't this bad.
You know what's crazy too is that Ultimate Warrior, before he passed away, when he started like changing and started being nicer about wrestling, he said he knows where he messed up. He's like, I did not mean that to happen. That was an accident. I don't think it was an accident. Ultimate Warrior to me was very unsafe in the ring.
Yeah.
Everyone says that, right?
I don't think I mean, I don't think he intentionally meant to drop him on his head, but it's still the fact that he still ended up dropping him on his head.
Facts.
Yeah.
He didn't even say sorry. He just,
Well, which is crazy because, like you said, we all saw that match, and that match looked really good. In fact, I thought Ric Flair looked better than Bret Hart at times.
facts.
You know, I mean, I didn't.
So here's the thing. Listen, and I hope he doesn't come beat me up. Look, Ric Flair lies sometimes. He says shit that you're just like, what? He's like Hulk Hogan used to say shit. That you're like, wait, that's
Sometimes.
Ric
Bro,
Flair's
I
that
mean,
guy.
Like,
what?
that man has drank himself stupid. I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, but let's look at
I'm
the
trying to be mean, but
He
I'm
was
just saying,
partying,
like,
man.
Ric Flair was a party animal. I mean, like, you know what I mean?
But let's think about this.
What?
Let's think about Ric Flair did not want to lose the title really to begin with. That's what the controversy is. I mean, he really wanted to, you know, even in the interview, like she was saying, I had seen an interview earlier too that I was looking at, and Ric Flair said that he kind of felt like he was losing it to a really mid-tier, bottom-tier talent. And he said that out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So he really didn't want to, yeah. So,
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, Ric Flair, he had an ego, but we all know if some car wreck didn't happen, he wouldn't have been in that position. Let's
This
just
is
be
true.
honest.
But at the time, we also got to figure it's 1992. Bret Hart really kind of was just a mid-tier talent at that point, so they were taking a chance with Bret Hart.
He was slowly starting to take off.
I mean, because at that time is when the guys that were doing, like, more wrestling and not just being characters were coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was time for Bret to be in that. And then right after Bret, Michaels.
Here's the interesting part about it, right? Just like, you know how there's always like weird twists. Here's the weird twist to it. If you pay attention, last week we reviewed Royal Rumble 1992.
Yeah.
Right before Royal Rumble 1992, Bret Hart dropped the Intercontinental title to the Mountie at a house show.
mm-hmm.
And the Mountie came and defended the title to Roddy Piper, and Roddy Piper won the title at the Royal Rumble instead of beating Bret Hart. And that was because they were ready to start pushing Bret and putting him more in the world title picture. So they started building him here in January after that point anyway. But it's kind of weird that he lost the Intercontinental title in January at a house show and then won the world title the same year in October at a house show.
Well, the funny thing too was during the interview as well, Bret Hart had said that when he was called to win the championship, he didn't believe it. When they flew him over from Canada to go see Vince McMahon, and when Vince McMahon said, "Hey, we're gonna give you the title," he had a straight face, and he said Vince had told him he knows people that jump around when they say they can get a title shot, but he said, "No, I don't believe in it." So, to me, I think Bret Hart, in his own way, he's very like, I don't like very like he cries a lot. To me, I think he cries a lot.
Oh, big time.
You know, he's a big crybaby. But do we know the real reason why they gave him the title?
Great. He'll never come on this show now that you said that. He's gonna be so mad.
I'm sorry. Listen, my mom was a big Bret Hart fan too. I don't know what she's seen him, but she was a big Bret Hart fan.
All you gotta do is say that cool birds will come on your podcast, and Bret Hart will not even come nowhere near your podcast.
But I mean, they said other reasons was why that they gave him the title too. Did you know about that? The other reasons?
Well, Vince was trying to change the scenery, like trying to change the landscape, because he realized that he couldn't keep doing these characters. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
these big characters.
Also, you know, where was that?
5 years before the Attitude Era. So this wasn't even when he started really seeing characters. Attitude Era is not from '97. We're 5 years before that big change, and he's making the switch from an established Ric Flair to Bret Hart. So
I don't think.
I want to hear what you have on this.
Here's what I kind of dug up. During that time, you know, because how Vince McMahon always had he always has controversy. Everything's all well. During that time, they were digging up facts about steroid use, and WWF, excuse me, at the time, had a black eye. So they figured, hey, let's put it on somebody like, Bret Hart, which everybody follows. He's kind of fresh face. So they try to make a new look with him, try to go, and that's what I also dug up. And it kind of makes sense.
It does. I mean, although nobody thought Ric Flair was on steroids, let's be real.
No,
I did not bullshit. Everybody fucking knew that shit.
No, he's on coke, but not steroids.
No,
you're like, hey, Ric Flair's on steroids. That's why he's the champ. Like, I haven't.
No.
That is ruined.
But at the point, who else are you gonna put it on? If you want to make
the thing,
face, who else are you gonna put it on?
Whenever the big steroid thing's going on, all the top guys had to be tested, and Ric Flair did get tested, and he pissed hot for steroids.
And now that, who else are you gonna put it on? Who else are you gonna put it on to go into a new generation to try to show a cleaner image?
I mean, yeah, Bret Hart is like. Right.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think it was a smart decision. I think Bret Hart.
Oh yeah.
You go to at that time, but Ric Flair just didn't agree with it. So you were right. You said earlier that he thought he was a mid-carder. Something that I dug up was part of why they did this on a house show was Rick thought he was a mid-carder and he refused to lose to Bret on TV. And they were going to put the title on Bret, so they decided to do it at a house show untelevised. And he was actually mad. Like, so if you paid attention when you watched it, it had primetime wrestling as like on the banner. So they were recording matches for this show for primetime, which they used to do that all the time, recording different places to put together primetime. So they had the footage, and it was commentated on by Gorilla Monsoon and Lord Alfred Hayes, and they made it a Coliseum Video exclusive. We talked about Coliseum Video last week. I don't know if you guys don't remember Coliseum Video, listeners. Back in the day, that was how you watched your wrestling.
That was HBO. That was HBO. That was Netflix. That was the big, that's where you got your stuff. Yeah. Definitely.
No, it was Coliseum Video was who produced all the wrestling videos.
Right.
It was you go to Blockbuster and you get your Coliseum Video wrestling, like the best of Davey Boy Smith or the European Tour or whatever. Or like
they did the pay-per-view too.
Right, exactly.
On Coliseum Video, which Ric Flair claims he didn't get a dime out of. He said he never got paid anything.
Of course, I mean, I think he did. But if you watch a lot of these people, like Ric Flair, still to this day, he bodies everybody. Like he's like, oh, this happened with this person. This happened with this person. He's like, but yeah, I mean, Bret Hart was a big deal because Bret Hart was still green. Now he was not really green, but he was still,
you know what's funny?
As far as
think about this. When the Montreal Screwjob happened, what did Bret not want to do? He didn't want to put over Shawn Michaels.
Right.
Just saying.
Right.
Follow suit.
Well, see, here's the thing. Also, Bret Hart, he signed a contract for like almost a lifetime contract for like $1 million or whatever a year, and he was seeing that everybody else was getting money. Everybody was getting a lot of money over what they were doing. So yeah, WCW kind of played a role in that, in making him want to, try to think that he's got balls to,
let's be real. At that time, once we get to that point in wrestling, right?
Right.
WCW is just throwing money around blindly. Like,
oh yeah.
That's totally everybody. Anyone that wants to come over, like if Amy wanted to go wrestle, they would have gave her a guaranteed contract for.
Hey, Ted won anybody. Yep. Ted, hey, listen. That's what
Dennis wanted a contract. Let's not forget that.
Exactly. That's what Tony Khan. Tony Khan is for. He's the past of Ted Warner, because he's like, oh, let me make the, if you want money, I'll throw it at him. But how does that work? I heard even Ric Flair said, and he's right about it. Bret Hart went over there. He didn't really do much. He won the title. He was promised the title.
I mean,
but what do you remember?
How fast did fucking Bret get hurt by Goldberg over there?
Well, not only that, remember, I mean, do you guys remember a really big moment in his life? He was NWO. To me, that's the most I remember of him. He won the title when he got there, because that was promised, of course. And NWO, that's all I remember.
All I remember about Bret being in fucking WCW is joint NWO and winning the world title. Oh, and Goldberg hurting him, sorry.
Yeah. So that's all I remember.
I mean, the world title win was great because he had the medal.
Yeah.
The shirt.
Yeah,
that was great.
I was never a huge Bret Hart fan though. Like I was always a Shawn Michaels fan.
Same.
Well, the main controversy between Bret Michaels and
Bret Michaels.
I mean Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart was the fact that Bret Hart blamed Shawn for an injury.
Were you even live that time?
I watched the documentary. Shush it. Okay. And that was the big issue. And then when Bret got hurt and he was laid out and he was like, I don't know if I want to come back. I don't know if I want to come back. And they kept doing the interviews from his house. You know, Shawn was starting to get that like momentum in the WWE. And then when Bret finally came back, Bret's like, well, nobody thinks I'm the greatest because I'm not the champion and I've been laid up and I deserve this, 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 and this.
I mean, like at the end of the day, Bret Hart will go down as one of the best like wrestlers. I mean, like, you know, technical wrestlers of all time.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But WWF did kind of screw around with Bret Hart. I mean, let's talk about when Bret Hart lost the title. Championship to Yokozuna, and had what was that all about? Anyways, how did Hulk Hogan even get a title shot? How did that happen? That's what I want to know. Because they did.
Bret was there to be the baby face when Hogan was not there. That was the point.
Bret screwed Bret.
That's why Bret was put in the title picture, because they then saw Bret as being that like fresh baby face because he was getting over with the crowd, just like Hulk Hogan was getting over with the crowd.
Was Hogan gone at this time? I feel like Hogan was already. If not, he was like close to leaving.
What time? Hogan left.
That was during the steroid part, so he was gone doing whatever.
Movies. He was doing movies, and he was doing movies.
Just think about it. He was there in January. He was in that Rumble.
Uh-huh.
That's when he tried to pull out Psycho Sid, and he fought Psycho Sid at Mania, right?
Right. Yes, I think he did. He fought Psycho Sid Mania. But remember, at the time too, the time that they were going through all the steroid stuff, he did disappear. He moved out of the picture for a little bit. And I think wasn't he trying to sue Vince McMahon anyway, or was Vince McMahon trying to sue Hulk Hogan at the time? They had that little
they had that dispute, but I don't think
they went to court. They went to court.
But I think they had a little bit of a dispute then.
Yeah, dispute. Yeah.
It didn't get too out of hand now.
But yeah, Bret Hart. I mean, to me, do you think Bret Hart was at the right? It was the right move, right? It was the right move to make him champion through that time.
I feel like at that time, who else are you gonna put? Who else?
Exactly.
Put the title on. But here's the other thing though. Time out. You didn't have to move it off of Flair. Flair didn't leave. Like a lot of people say, oh, and then Flair left. This happened October 12th, 1992. Flair left January 25th, 1993. He lost to Mr. Perfect in a loser leaves town match on Monday Night Raw. So he was still there a whole 4 months before he leaves.
Right.
So it's not like you had to move off of Flair at that time. So that's where it gets a little cloudy and confusing because Flair stuck around for a while.
Right.
But it took a while after that match with Bret for him to come back because he was dealing with the ear thing. I think it was like at least 6 weeks. I think he said before he was able to come back from that.
6 weeks, yeah.
Well, he said while he was fighting. It also was said that when he was fighting. Well, Bret said this, that when he was fighting with Flair, like for his rematch or whatever, or during the time, he said that he was having problems at home, and then Bret Hart had said that he went to Vince's office and he's like, I think he's trying to sabotage me. Like he thought every Bret Hart match, every Ric Flair match was like he was trying to sabotage him. So what do you think about that? I mean, I think Flair is he's kind of somebody that would do that. I believe he would try to sabotage
I got a better
somebody.
question for you. Who is the bigger crybaby back then? Hulk Hogan, Ric
Yeah,
Flair?
yeah.
Oh, hold on. Or the Warrior or fucking Bret Hart?
I think they all were equal. They all were babies at some point. They did some. I mean, that was the cry.
Jarrett.
They were all crybabies at different times, but I think
should
in that particular area was probably Hulk Hogan, even more so than Ric Flair.
That's the crybaby era. The crybaby era. That's what we should call it.
The golden era is the crybaby era.
Yeah, the crybaby era. I mean, some of them did have a like right now, like think TKO. They're using people now that they know that's going to show, that's going to bring fans.
Exactly.
And back then they had a lot of people that was able to bring fans. You can't give everybody a championship. You know what I'm saying? But they had a lot of people at that time that.
Well, the fans want anyone to have the championship. The IWC wants everyone to have the championship. So
right, exactly. I mean, like
they don't want Cody as champion.
Well, it's like Hogan. I mean, Hogan, when he didn't have the championship, I think he still was good. I liked his Macho Man Randy Savage feuds he had and all that stuff.
One of my favorite things he did was until is when he came down with Yokozuna, the title we were talking about with Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was one of my favorite Hogan moments, but not when he won the title.
Right. Now, like, okay, like let's, for instance, trying to figure out a day. Okay, like say the Bret Hart versus Stone Cold moment. That was one of the best. Bret Hart Stone Cold rivalry. That was the best right there.
That helped make Stone Cold. Well, if it wasn't for that moment, I don't know if you would have Stone Cold that we have now.
And not only that, think about this too. That was the era that nobody like. That's when Bret Hart was the babyface and Stone Cold was a heel, and yet everybody still, and that bothered him because everybody still was cheering for Austin, and that was the time where the heel and the babyface, everybody, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, Bret Hart's been important in important situations. I think he's a trailblazer of the WWF. You know what I'm saying? So,
he's the best in the world.
Yeah. So no, that's debatable. But anyways, Sean Puff.
Well, I don't know about best in the world, but he was definitely one of the first guys that made you believe that a smaller guy could be a credible champion.
Yeah,
fair. I don't even think of him. You're right. You're very right about it. But I don't look at Bret Hart and think of a smaller guy, even though he is. Like, and you know me, like I always hate. I'm like, I hate
your Hogan and your Macho Man and your Flairs. Yeah, Bret Hart's definitely a smaller guy.
I mean, think about that too. Kayfabe even got like more if you had a little guy win the title. Like, let's say Adam Page. Can you imagine Adam Page winning a title against Ultimate Warrior? Or you know what I'm saying? Just
correct me wrong. Did Mysterio win the world title on Big Show?
That's what I'm saying. It's just
Just saying.
Well, they do it once in a while. Once in a while that happens. So, hey, I wanted to look to see who else they could have went with if they were like set on taking it off Flair. So when you look at the top baby faces in WWF in '92, we had Bret Hart, we had Randy Savage, we had the Ultimate Warrior, we had the Undertaker, we had Mr. Perfect, we had the British Bulldog. So if you don't go Bret Hart, right? If you're saying for whatever reason, maybe there was a dispute, whatever the real reason is, they decided they were moving on from Flair as the world champion. If you don't go with Bret Hart, who do you go with in that position at that time?
Well, I don't know, because a lot of those guys too weren't they questioned for steroids?
I mean, I think
like the Bulldog,
Bulldog, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior. You're not going to put any of them if you're trying.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to put the title on any of them, especially what's going on. So I ain't putting on the Bulldog. Why would you put it on the Bulldog?
Mr. Perfect would have been good. Mr. Perfect was over at that time.
Oh, I love Mr. Perfect. But I don't think at that time.
Mr. Perfect would have been good, and that would have been interesting because he did feud with Flair. So yeah.
That would have been good too. Yeah,
I was always a fan of Mr. Perfect.
But as you see, Bret Hart is the top of the list. There's no. If he were to change his mind, there's nobody else. So
I think now go with Bret Hart with Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect, yeah.
Now, was Roddy Piper still active at that time, or did he retire at that point? Because he would have been one of their top faces too.
I think he was still active at that time.
He might have been. He was Intercontinental Champion at let me ask, was Roddy Piper still active?
Are we going to still?
But even if he was though, like Roddy Piper's not the typical baby face though. Roddy Piper's kind of that psychopathic kind of
I mean,
he kind of was crazy. To me, he wasn't considered. To me, I would consider him a baby face, top baby face.
No,
could
but
they have tried to
was
put it on the
over that.
Undertaker though?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but forgot about Taker. We did have Taker at the time.
Yeah, I know, but
Taker was there, but I don't.
Yeah, but Taker just started. Taker started in '91. Taker started in '91.
Yeah, but he already had
or 90. No, I'm sorry.
he already had been put into a big place.
Right.
Undertaker won the title. Tuesday in Texas, all that junk had just remember we're coming off of all that.
Right.
That all happened. Tuesday in Texas. The Rumble or the Survivor Series rather was when Flair cheated, helped the Undertaker beat Hogan by slipping the chair in the ring. Then Tuesday, Jack Tunney made Tuesday in Texas. Tuesday in Texas happened, and Flair interfered again. Hogan won the title back though. Jack Tunney stripped him of the title and put it in abeyance because of all this going on, and put the title up in the Royal Rumble. And that's why the title was up for grabs in the Royal Rumble, and Flair won it.
Oh.
So Undertaker's already been in a position to be the world champion, but it was as a heel, not as a face. So do you do it as a face? It's interesting. And I want to say this on Perfect, I think you can't do it on Perfect because he was such a protected act at that time. You can't put him on. You can't put the world championship on a guy like that because you have to have him lose sometime.
Right.
And it takes away from everything you're building, not losing.
Correct.
Yeah, I love Mr. Perfect with all those videos he's do, like when he played basketball. Going
I love Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect was that was my
his whole vignettes were like just that sold that as a kid. That's so me.
Only he was the only one that I knew that would he would spit the gum 5 feet in the air and just
right.
I know.
I tried that growing up. I could never freaking do it.
And then we all thought it was so cool when he flipped the towel in his back and then brought it up. I thought that was so cool. I was like, I can't do that. That's crazy.
I was got in trouble in school for spitting gum out and smacking it.
I was one of them. I've done that before.
You know, Sean. You know, like one thing is what's crazy. You said about Ric Flair winning the title in the Rumble. That was that, and the one time when Triple H won it was the only times it was defended in the Rumble.
No,
I believe
freaking Roman Reigns, he defended his title in the Rumble. Remember, he was number one, defended it. Yeah,
I thought he lost it.
No, he won. He won in the Rumble, but he was number one and he defended it.
No, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, that's. I'm
pretty sure that's the one Triple H won.
Yeah, that's the one Triple H won.
Yes, that's how he became the champ.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Roman, that's when he was against the authority. And even Rockstar says it right here.
In Atlanta.
Oh, good stuff, Rockstar. Good stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's only been 2 times in history that's happened.
Okay.
But this was because of the whole. This was a whole different thing. It was because Jack Tunney decided to hold up the title. And think about how much of a big thing this was then, because in 1992 you didn't have monthly pay-per-views.
Right.
No, there was a big
title. The title was held up after Survivor Series. It was Survivor Series. Then the following Tuesday, they did Tuesday in Texas. And then the title was stripped like the next week on Wrestling Superstars or Wrestling Challenge or whatever the weekly show was. And now you don't have a world champion until January, which was kind of crazy when you think about that whole thing. And now we get to this, and now we have the title changing hands on a house show. We fucking complain about booking in today's wrestling. Let's talk about how that's all booked. Shit.
And you know what's crazy too is that back then, you know, like you said, you didn't have weekly segments like we do now.
No.
So it's like people who couldn't see it. It was like, well, you don't know how long it went without a champion or what happened without going to the magazines.
Or when I was in New York, in the 90s, and the New York Post would be in the back. There would be actually in the sports section results from who won.
Yeah, but they were in New York and all that a lot, so you guys got to see it more than people like us, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they have. I'm saying that they have the shows actually resulted in the newspaper. So
yeah, that because y'all were in New York. Mm-hmm. Like when I was in Florida, we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was. I would love going to like the flea markets and find wrestling magazines, and it would just have all this in there, especially in the Attitude Era. Stuff like Gold Dust and stuff like that. Like they had the like sections where it's like Gold Dust. It's like, oh man, like as a kid, that was so cool to me.
So I have a question actually, and this is what involves Bret. Now Bret Hart, he was through the Attitude Era, you know, the Golden Era, whatever, the beginning, the end of Golden Era, Attitude Era.
Mhm.
Well, how would you think he would fare in today's roster? Like the whole Michael Jordan, LeBron James theory right here. What do you think? How do you think he would survive in this? Like, what do you think he would do?
I think the flippity dippity guys would outwork Bret, but the guys that like Randy, he's not a flippity dippity guy. You know what I'm saying? He's more of a, you know, not say old school, but you know what I'm saying, like ruthless aggression, Attitude Era. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think like him versus someone like Randy, yeah. But someone versus like him versus someone like
Javon Evans.
yeah, like
Or
it's just gonna flip circles around him the whole time, and I think Bret's gonna break a hip or something, try to keep up.
No, I'm
with
talking about like you talking about when he's being like his age when he started versus Javon
I mean,
Evans.
even back
No,
then,
no, I'm not saying that.
Like in his prime.
In his prime, yeah, in his prime, not now.
Oh,
Now, of
no,
course,
I don't think he would adjust very well because he was so used to fighting bigger guys that I think somebody like a Johnny Gargano would give him trouble.
yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
the
fair
thing is,
enough.
like, back
That's
then,
interesting. That's an
like back
interesting
then,
take.
you know, like wrestling was so
guys.
yeah, that's
well, it's because it was back then in the 90s, in the 80s, you know, wrestling was slower pace. Like even though Sean and Brett and then people like that could go faster, Triple H, still not compared to these guys nowadays.
yeah. I mean, you remember they had the whole little headlocks and the little takedowns,
Yeah.
and that's how it was
Brian
back then.
Pillman, like I mean,
But okay, but like I got another hot take. To me, I don't know, I'm not alone with this, but I got another hot take. I think that Owen Hart probably would have surpassed his brother
oh,
a whole
easily.
bunch.
Oh,
Easy.
100%.
I agree.
A whole bunch.
Mhm.
And I think Owen Hart right now within this generation, I think he'd do good. He'd do good too, because he's fast. He does that hippity dippity like you said.
Yeah, that's what I call it hippity dippity.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but yeah.
So, fun fact, I don't know how true this actually is, but I did hear back in the day before Owen's tragic passing that he was originally supposed to be the Game. He was
Yeah.
going to be the cerebral assassin.
I see that.
So-
I see that. I do see that.
And I could see that. I could see Owen doing that very well, actually. So
It's
it's kind of sad to think that we never got to see what that could have been. But honestly, I feel someone like Owen or like Shawn Michaels actually would have had a lot of success wrestling today because
Right.
they would have been able to adapt to that faster style, whereas Bret was so technical. I don't
Slow
think he would have been able to.
I mean, not like that right
talking
there
about
with Owen, that is documented. Vince McMahon said it, Undertaker said it, Triple H even said it himself in interviews. They all three said, and there's probably others too that said it, that Owen Hart was supposed to be the Game.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Let me say this. Let's bring it back over here to Bret. So we're talking about Bret in this time period. Let's talk about Bret then. Like, was Bret named the future of this company because Bret was the future, or was Bret named the future of the company because he had nobody else to be the future of the company at that time?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think that Bret Hart was in an era where he was the middle of people actually coming in, and that they were too new for them to put the title on, or they were in different or they were in bigger storylines.
What is he talking about here? I don't understand. Maybe
I don't know. I don't understand.
I thought someone else could understand it for me. Sorry.
I think Bret Hart was at the right place at the right time to me to say the truth.
I think Rockstar was,
So
Right. Like, I think if you look at it, if you do it
was supposed
in
to
a year or maybe even a few months
Right.
away from this, right?
that
I don't think you're going to go with Bret Hart necessarily. I think that there may have been someone else that you could have went with. Just at this time, it wasn't like Amy brought up. I think the steroid controversy had a whole big thing to do with this. Ultimate Warrior gets suspended in November.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't go to. You probably knew that was coming because there was all stuff going on with it. So you're not going to put the title on this guy right there. I mean, I get Randy Savage is the only other guy I think you could have put it on.
I would have went Randy personally. I was a huge Randy mark though.
But
But even then,
like
Randy wouldn't have worked because he wasn't on the steroids, and he was actively falling apart. Like you could tell just by the change in his ring gear. He started wearing shirts and stuff. He was falling apart. Even if they did put it on him, how long would he have been able to hold up?
Like you said, I think I think the only one would be Mr. Perfect. Would be probably the smart route to go.
Yeah.
But and the thing is too, what they could have done was had Mr. Perfect win it, and then when he lose it, that's when you can make a whole story about him not being perfect no more. That would have been perfect. Like even though it kind of went with a gimmick, but at the same time, it would have worked because kayfabe was real back then.
Right. And also like we said, like Sean, we said, it was the perfect time because like you said, the whole scandal, you need a new baby face. Bret Hart was just right there, so.
No, I mean, it worked out, though. I mean, think about it. I don't think Shawn Michaels would have got, you can't say that Shawn didn't get made because of Bret. Bret was a big part of making Shawn Michaels.
Bret was a big part of making a lot of people. I mean, he was a big part of making a lot of people. That's why
the Hart Dungeon to this day goes down as one of the hardest training things you could ever do.
True. Listen, I got a hot take on how they should have done this, and I think it's going to go all the way back to Royal Rumble.
Okay.
I think there's no need to do the Hogan thing where Hogan gets mad at Sid for throwing him out. I don't know if you guys remember that whole thing or if you paid it to listen last week. Hogan gets the last three are Hogan, Sid, and Flair. Sid throws Hogan out. Hogan gets mad, grabs his arm, starts pulling him, and Flair dumps him over. They get in the ring and have a whole big fight and go at it at Mania. I think that's dumb. I don't think it should have played out that way. I think you should have had Flair win it and not have Hogan pull him out, right? Flair has Hogan next. Sid has his back because at the time they were friends, and Sid turns on Hogan and joins up with Flair, which makes sense because they were in the Horsemen together. So you can easily tell that story. Yeah. And then you can go from there. You build that up. You have them together for a while. And now you turn, if you want to turn Sid face again, right here, you put the title on Sid. Although, I know Sid's unreliable. It's October. He's probably just coming back from playing softball, all that. But
Sid Vicious was one of my favorite people growing up when I was a little kid. Like, I used to love Sid Vicious.
He's massive.
But I didn't like Sid Justice.
No.
It wasn't the same guy, right? It was like
it wasn't. There's no way it was.
I don't know. I liked him better as a heel. Face.
Yeah, Sid Vicious was the man. Like not even like Psycho Sid was good, but Sid Vicious was just the man.
I mean, it's like what's his name? Val
Venus.
Val Venus.
Yeah, Venus. I love that.
Val Venus. Of course, you love Val Venus, but Val Venus had no type of. To me, he had no type of.
Vader. I'm sorry, Vader. I meant Vader.
That's two totally different people now.
I know.
Yeah.
I meant Vader. Like Vader in the '90s to me I loved watching him because it was a big man doing big man little man stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did a freaking flip from the top rope.
Yeah, I like Bam Bam for that reason. I like Bam Bam.
Yeah, Batman was good too. I would like to see Batman hold a title. I mean,
let me ask you this: do you think it was too early to give it to Shawn or Razor? They were heels at both heels at the time, or Shawn just became a heel right after that, and Razor was not there. I think Razor got there in like August.
Yeah.
We're now in October. I personally think that he could have carried that world title. and done it well.
Yeah, I think Sean did get it too early, in my opinion.
Also,
No, I mean right here. I'm saying instead of Bret Hart,
Sean,
because we were talking about instead of Bret Hart, who could we have went with? There wasn't really a babyface other than Mr. Perfect.
right?
Could you go with either Shawn Michaels or Razor Ramon as a heel here?
At that time, I would go with Razor because
Razor
was a lot more fire than Sean.
Yeah, but the thing about Razor too is he didn't quite grab the fans like Sean did. I mean, I know I liked Razor Ramon. No, I liked Razor Ramon, but a lot of people. If you were thinking about keeping somebody on and giving somebody the title and somebody that's going to put eyes on the prize, it's going to be Shawn Michaels, 110%.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but it's just to me like Razor brought more of that, like ethnic kind of thing when he was doing the whole kind of Scarface thing, and that's what Vince was trying to bring into the, at the time.
Yeah, but Vince didn't even get it. You know that Vince didn't get it, right? Vince hadn't seen Scarface. He thought it was a really cool gimmick. Yeah. He did not get the gimmick at all.
They said that on
Scarface.
When Razor Ramon was on Nash's podcast before he died, it was like a couple years before that. He said that he's like Vince didn't get it. Vince was like, I don't get it. He said he had to sit down with Vince and watch the movie for Vince to get it. Could you imagine Vince watching Scarface? Oh, now I get it.
Oh God.
Make me money. Yeah.
That probably changed Vince. We could probably look at that movie and say when Razor Ramon came over and made Vince watch Scarface, that's when Vince changed. He was like, oh yeah.
This right here. Blunt's right. Vince thought he came up with it. That's how the Scarface movie came about. Like he made Vince sit and watch it with him.
Because he probably saw sometimes I'd be thinking that something that's made up, but you probably hear it in the back of your mind. You're like, oh, and then you think you came up with it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I would go with Sean like at that time, but it would have probably been too early to put on him at the same time. But
how about this option? How about this option? Because here's the downside of this, right? Mm-hmm. This is like Bret Hart's first run, and it wasn't that great. And I feel like it's because it didn't start great. It wasn't a big start. A world title. If you win a world title, it's not a big deal when you win a world title. A lot of times that runs flat because it wasn't anything to start it off good. So,
nobody had even won it until what, like a week or two later?
Right. So, looking back at it, do you have Flair drop it to somebody transitional like you did with the Mountie?
I mean, you could.
And have Bret win it on TV where it becomes bigger than random show in Saskatoon that's only recorded for Coliseum home video.
Would you give it to Boss Man? I mean, I think like Boss Man would be a good transitional. To me, I think he would be a good transition.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, they doing it at a house show instead of doing it at TV. Okay, this is like, okay, this is how we're going to draw you into the house show, because now you don't know, you might get a title change at a house show. You won't see this on TV.
Right.
And we had the internet, so we didn't know that it happened until
And that's a good. That's
on TV or in a magazine.
No, that's good that she said that.
They did that sometimes. Like I said, they did it in January, so I think it's a common thing to like at that time. It wasn't unheard of to do. I just feel like that big of a title change. It wasn't like
it was too big. It was two big megastars on Coliseum. I get it.
Right.
Right. And the
like
thing,
I feel like
it's
a wild place to have Ric Flair drop the world title.
Right. But the thing about it too is I think they kind of screwed the pooch with that as well, because if you put the title on Bret Hart at a house show, there's gonna be a lot of people that miss that. There's gonna be a lot of people and what's the story at? You know what I'm saying? So once it goes from Coliseum to, because when I was a kid, I couldn't freaking go to Blockbuster and watch videos all the time. By the time I watched the video, they probably been a new champion. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that.
Oh, this is how we won that. Yeah. By the time we started, it was, and think about it, it's not like today. Today, like the DVD comes out like a week later, 2 weeks later. back then it was like it didn't come out on a DVD. Didn't come out until 6 months later or so. And
Right.
for a fact, this didn't come out until Ric Flair was long gone from the company because he complains about it. That when it came out, they said it wasn't going to come out. So this didn't even come out shortly thereafter. So,
I mean, I remember like because I used to watch both back in like the '90s when WWE or WWF. And my grandfather would always order the pay-per-views for my grandma, and so we would always see both pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? And then I would go to Blockbuster and say, "Oh, what kind of wrestling stuff's here?" And I would see this just came out. I seen this pay-per-view a year ago.
Right.
I'm like, what?
It was called a Coliseum collection, basically. It was just a collection.
Yeah, exactly. That's and like Sean said, like nowadays, like there's a pay-per-view. Well, not even 2 weeks later, I see it at Walmart.
Right.
It's like, dude, or you just got it on Peacock or ESPN. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like I said, I think, like I said, Bret Hart. I think his title was kind of but as far as Bret Hart with his run, I think he was very important. Very important in a lot of those careers.
Someone said that they made it a pay-per-view. I don't know if they did that afterwards, but it first appeared on Coliseum Home Video in 1993. It came out on Bret Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. So it was like his career spotlights and highlights. And it was included as previously unseen WWF Championship victory over Flair from Saskatoon. And
was it
commentary? When you watch it, that commentary isn't the live commentary because it wasn't supposed to be used for anything. So they didn't have a commentator. They didn't have any commentators for that match. So it was commentated post-match in a studio by Lord Alfred Hayes and Gorilla Monsoon when they decided they were going to put it on this tape. So that's kind of interesting to think that one of the biggest title changes of that time period was not
on TV
documented except for just a random happened to be on video because they were recording the whole show.
You know what's crazy is that like you go back and you watch some of those videos like that, and that's where you'll find stuff. Like nowadays you can go to YouTube and see unseen footage, thing. But like back then, that's how you seen that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Unless you had somebody with a video recorder, back then, because you see bootlegs on the streets and stuff. But you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, obviously something was going on back in the in
the
area.
We all know Vince was famous for this, but I'm sure one night Vince at that house show was like, "Hey, we're putting the title on Bret." Out of nowhere, I bet you.
Yeah, I mean, they said he's done that a lot. They said said that
he'll go to whole fucking shows 3 hours before the show,
and he would be sleeping, and he'd be like, "Oh, let's put it on this guy." It's just the thing about it is I know the fact that because Vince McMahon, he never misses out on money, so for a fact something was going down in the back because, like you said, who would put a big mega stars in a house show to drop a title? I mean, that's a mistake that a millionaire wouldn't make. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, no, like when Vince was there at like towards the end before he got taken out, like they would say all the time that Vince would just come in randomly, had this set up for like months. Then Vince would come in that night. Oh, we're rewriting the whole show.
Oh yeah, that's what they hated about him. And the thing about it too was when he put the title on Bret Hart, he called Bret Hart at his home, and he said, "I want to see you at 8 a.m." Mm-hmm. Booked him a flight and said, "We put the title on you."
Yeah,
and that was the same day that happened. That was the morning.
He was famous for that though.
Yeah, that was the morning of the match.
And then said like on her show, you watch her show, she would say, "My dad would randomly call people up, say, hey, I want you at my house next day," and it's like. Taker said that happened to him so many times.
So now that you said about the transition, I'm actually kind of curious now. The transitional champions at that time, my pick was Boss Man. I'd like to know who y'all picks were. What would you think would be a reliable transition champion?
I would have went with Randy. I would have Randy Savage and then have Bret Hart beat Randy Savage on TV.
Yeah, the way Randy was going through. Yeah,
Flair would lose to Randy. Flair would lose to Randy Savage. He wouldn't be upset about it. He could do it on TV. They already had an established feud, an established history. So you have Ric Flair drop it to Randy Savage, and Bret Hart takes it from him shortly thereafter.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, like she said, Randy at that time was going through what Randy was going through.
Mm-hmm.
So people wouldn't have batted an eye for you to have Randy be a transitional champion that time.
Mm-hmm.
You're too late. I said that, bud.
I was agreeing with what y'all said.
No, I'm talking about Tyson. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. How about you, Amy? What'd you do?
I don't know. I kind of feel like Mr. Perfect would have been a good transitional champion because let him have it for like a couple months or so and then drop it, and because that person was absolutely perfect to be the perfect champion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. See, but that would, to do that, you're changing the whole trajectory of it because you'd have to have him have it for a few months. Like I'm thinking like somebody beats Ric Flair, and then the next primetime wrestling, Bret Hart beats that person, and you just have legit transition like that, and they could have done it. They could have done it.
Like say a couple of months because they didn't defend the title as frequently as they do now.
Right.
So
Right,
a transitional title reign for them would have been like 2 or 3 months.
Right.
I mean,
But you could have told a story where it was supposed to be Bret Hart in the match, and something happened, so Bret Hart couldn't be in the match. So Randy Savage took his place. Randy Savage won. So then Jack Tunney made it next week. Bret Hart got the match. So you could have done something like that to make the title matches happen. I mean, they did Tuesday in Texas, 2 days after Survivor Series. So it wouldn't have been unheard of to do it.
I think it would have been too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But we also got to think of that.
I agree with this comment right here. I do stand by. I said earlier, Piper probably would have been a good one as well.
Right.
If he was active.
If you do a transition, like, see, we got to also remember
to movies.
Right. You got to also remember too, transitional. You want to put somebody established, like you said, like Savage or so, because you don't want to hurt him. You don't want to hurt somebody for being a transitional champion. Like I think Mr. Perfect would have his image hurt if he was transitional.
I
for
agree.
what he was going for.
His gimmick.
What he was going for. It would kill his gimmick. So that's another thing that we have to be. Piper wouldn't have. Randy wouldn't have.
Piper could have sold it as fuck you for blah blah blah. How Piper was back then.
Right.
Jake the Snake could have been one too.
Maybe, yeah, Jake the Snake. Maybe.
Yeah, I think more Piper, and I think Piper would have been cool because that's a guy that was a company guy, and he went out there and did what he needed to do for WWF. Never got the world title.
Here's the reason why Goldust never would have got it. It's because he was Dusty's kid, and at the time, Vince didn't really want to mess with Dusty.
Yep.
So that wouldn't have happened. You know that.
He was the son of a plumber of a son of a plumber of a son of a plumber.
And you gotta think of this.
Let's talk about 1992. Goldust wasn't even a crumb of thought.
95 or something.
Right, yeah. We're talking about
Marlena.
We're 1992. We're 1992. We're not anywhere else.
Yeah.
Time
We're
travel.
October 1992, and that's who we have to use.
Bloke is not here. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly. But think about like they said, the title wasn't defended that much. I mean, look how got 1,700 days as champion because it wasn't defended like it. That's how Rowan did it.
I want to point this out. That's not so. We talked about that, and then we talked about the Intercontinental title, but the tag titles in February, in Denver, Colorado, February 7th, Money Inc. defeated the Legion of Doom to become the tag team champions. So in 1992, all 3 of their championships changed hands at a house show at some point.
That's true though. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, but also I could understand too. At a house show, if you make a mistake, you could fix that boo-boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a house, because it's not televised, so you can obviously because like they said, when they had not many people there, because they said WWF was very, very notorious for making more fans than what they had. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean I could understand the situation.
It happened though. It happened because if you look at magazines would report that, this how it changed. WWE's like, no, we didn't.
Right.
Like, it happened on a house show, and it was like a boo boo, so they fixed it.
Yeah.
But the magazine documented they did this.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't happen. Somebody, I don't remember who won. Somebody won the tag team titles. It might have been the Rockers. The Rockers won the tag team titles.
The Rockers and the Hurt Foundation. Yep. The ropes broke.
The ropes were broken. So they put the titles back on the Hart Foundation and acted like the match never happened. So that's house shows were weird. House shows were very weird.
Right.
But I mean, here's the weird part about it. Typically, when it happens, it's because of some reason. Like the tag titles changed because Hawk failed a drug test and he was about to be fired, so they had to take the belts off of him first.
I mean,
I mean, nobody. Let's be honest. Nobody is as untouchable as Jeff Hardy was. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Dan Uso might say you know, I'm just saying.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's a big thing that you said. About the whole situation about changing because they failed a drug test. You know what I mean? That's a good way to hide it. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, at the same time though, and house shows, so people fail to take out.
This wasn't that though. But this wasn't that. This wasn't like any thing going on with it. Like, well, Ric Flair's leaving. Yes, Ric Flair left 107 days later, but it wasn't like he's leaving tomorrow. We got to get the belt off of this guy. You could have. So it's odd that they did it, and it's odd the way that it wasn't like even then. And I feel like in 1992 they might have still used footage. If they had footage, they would show footage of the title change. If not, they would show still photos.
Right.
They showed none of that. None of that happened on Primetime, on Wrestling Superstars, on Wrestling Challenge. They did not show. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think when he came out on the Saturday night main event with the title, I think they might have showed a clip then of him tapping out Flair. I think, but other than that, they didn't really show anything. And even the tap out, if you go back and watch it, even the tap out was really, really quick. Like at first, it was like, did he really tap out?
Like tap out. It was more of just they would just nod their head.
Yeah,
that's what it was. More of a head nod.
At that point, they actually said it. They didn't tap. They would actually say it. Yeah, but
I mean, no, I think Vince was just pissed off at Rick. So
maybe, and that's a Vince thing, right? And Vince will get mad at you and just decide, all right, well, this is what we're gonna do, and we're never gonna know that. If that's the case, we'll never know that because Vince will probably never ever meant to say that. He's gonna tell some warped story of what actually happened. Brett screwed Brett. Brett screwed Brett. Put the title on Brett.
That's what I was gonna say. He
was so hurt that he had to give up the title. He hasn't wavered from that either. So,
all right, let's go back to that because here's the thing with that. Look it up. Ric Flair fought continuously after that until he left. He fought Randy Savage one-on-one at Survivor Series in a full match. He still did house shows and appearances.
He looked good.
Right after that happened. It wasn't even like he took 2 weeks off after he dropped the title. Ric Flair never stopped any of his regular appearances or performances for WWF after this match until he left WWF. When he left WWF, then he took a little bit of a break before he went back to WCW, and that still wasn't long. So he claims this was like a 6-month thing, and he was going to get this Lloyd's of London settlement for $750,000. And I call bullshit because the guy wrestled completely for fucking 3 months after that before he left and didn't take any time off in between it. So Ric Flair can say whatever the hell he wants, but I call bullshit on it because when you look at the facts of what happened,
right?
The man went out and wrestled every fucking time he was supposed to wrestle afterwards. He didn't miss a beat. So
I mean, the thing is though, one thing Rick can't lie about is how many women he's been with. That's one thing you can believe him.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's been maybe.
That man with a lot.
He didn't discriminate. He didn't discriminate. But you're probably right. But,
I mean, Rick though, he's notorious for lying about shit though.
Right.
Over exaggerate.
Yeah.
Not even over exaggerate. He lies too.
Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of them though back then did lie a lot though. So I mean, hey, Sergeant Slaughter. We didn't talk about Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter would have been another one too. I think would have been a good transition. I think he was. He was around then. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Slaughter would have been a good.
Even oh god, I just said his name. The Samoan that he acts like Japan.
Not Yokozuna.
Yokozuna. Yes, I agree with that, but he was still very, very new. But you could have just strapped the fucking
Yeah.
I don't know that Flair would have dropped it to a debut in Yokozuna though. I think
it would hurt him. It would hurt his image too much. Oh, he would have thought so.
I don't know if it hurt his image, Yokozuna. That's the fucking guy giant.
Yeah.
I mean, Yokozuna was not a small man. It wouldn't have been out of the realm of possibility for Flair to get squashed by him.
Well, I mean, not only that, like he was new. Yeah, he was new, and they were still trying to push him to be a giant that he was. Okay, he comes in and then he loses to Ric Flair. You know. So
Matt asked, was Iron Sheik around? No. Well, he was. If he was Colonel Mustafa at the time. He was like underneath Sheik. I mean, Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But Yokozuna would have been a good one. But then what do you do with Yokozuna? You're only beating Yokozuna with Hulk Hogan.
Well, no, that's the thing. If Yokozuna lost to Ric Flair, what would have been the point of having Yokozuna? He just would have been one big guy in the ring doing nothing. I mean, it would have been believable. Like the run that they gave him was believable because he squashed everybody.
He did.
Now, if he lost to Ric Flair in the middle, how does that look? What does that do to him? You know what I'm saying? It kind of like his whole run. You know.
What about there's a name that
Tatanka. No, Tatanka was okay. But I had to be a champion.
Actually, I was gonna say Earthquake.
Earthquake.
Yeah, I guess.
Transitional. I like him as transitional.
I'm not saying he could have had this long, groundbreaking reign, but he could have been an interesting transitional champion. Give him at least one, successful title reign versus whoever he won it from. Beat him in the rematch and then drop it to whoever.
Right.
No, I think he'd be a good guy that something happens. Flair gets hurt and he beats Flair at wherever. That could be at a house show or like if one Earthquake winning the title at a house show isn't as big as Bret Hart beat. To me, that's a big deal.
Yeah, the big thing is the match. Yeah, that makes sense.
Won it because some shit happened. It's like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then he defends it on TV against Bret Hart, and Bret Hart beats him and becomes the champion. That's way more believable than no coverage of Bret Hart winning the title. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. There's so many reasons why you don't cover it. Like you have to cover it,
right?
Or pivot and put the title on Bret Hart another way.
Where was Arn Anderson? Was he in WCW?
I think he was in WCW.
I think he was in
the Steiner Brothers was in WCW.
When he came over to WWF at the time, he came with Tully Blanchard as the Brainbusters.
Yeah.
I got another question. What about where do you think Kurt Angle would fit in? If he was Kurt Angle, Kurt Angle. I think he would have. He came in '96. No, he came in '96.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah, he was in 90. He came in 96. No, he didn't. He was in the 96.
Wasn't it?
No, it was, yeah. You're right. 98. It was 98. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say his run now. How do you think his run from 98 on would have been if he was from 92 on?
I think he would have gotten lost in the shuffle.
He would have got lost in the shuffle?
I think he would have gotten lost in the shuffle. They would have banked too much on that Olympian gimmick and not let him progress the way that he did.
So basically,
I feel he probably would have been stuck at like a mid-card level if he had been there at that time.
He would have been Ken Patera.
Yeah.
He would have been Ken Patera was an Olympian.
Yeah.
He would have been Ken Patera.
We got
that period because there was too many other people that they were doing things with. Hogan wouldn't have let him be the American guy.
Right.
If you were the American guy in the Hogan era, you were backseat.
Right.
That's kind of why. That's kind of why you saw a guy like Bret Hart can come up because he's Canada. He's not America.
That makes sense. And
American
I mean, I think they missed the opportunity on that with Hogan and Bret Hart with the kind of war between Canada and America. I know they did that with kind of Shawn Michaels and all that stuff when he did all that stuff. But if they had it with Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart, I think that would have been really good.
They missed a lot in that time period, that year specifically. Like, think about it. We didn't get that. We didn't get Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
That's true.
Like, that was
How
the big miss.
How did you not get Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair in that time period?
Well, who would go over? Who would go over? You know what I'm saying? They would probably have an argument. Who's going to go over? You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. And it's like it's a big fight. It'll be a stalemate. Every match they have would be like they bump the ref or count outs, double count outs, or you know what I'm saying? So
that doesn't work for me, brother. Me neither. Woo!
Speaking of that, did you see the new thing of Cody Rhodes looking like Hulk Hogan? That didn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's true. You're right. You're right about that. I mean, they like, think about it. Who else would like Ultimate Warrior? Like when the Ultimate Warrior just basically robbed the show by not coming out. You know what I'm saying? It's just they had all this power. I don't understand how Vince gave them all this power to do what they wanted. So,
well, yeah, it's weird. And well, let's talk about this now. What did Bret Hart do with the title? What did he do with this run?
Nothing really.
People talk about how great Bret Hart was.
Yeah.
But did Bret Hart really do that? Like, were there a lot of great Bret Hart matches that you can really think of?
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple. I mean, I can think of the Stone Cold Bret Hart. I can think of the one with Shawn Michaels and the Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
But those are all later on in his career. You can't really think of too many good, solid Bret Hart matches from that time period.
Right.
Maybe the one with Roddy Piper that they had at Mania. That
Right.
That's the only one during that time anyway that stands out to me.
Right.
I'll say, and I looked it up, so I'm going to go with Shawn Michaels Survivor Series 92, a year later, and then Razor Ramon Royal Rumble 93.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're a year later. So what did he do with this title run where you took the title off of Flair and put it on Bret, not on TV, didn't make a big deal of it, and what came of it? I think that, and this is why I kind of called it the Saskatoon screw job, because I think Bret got screwed. Bret got screwed once losing the title, and I think Bret got screwed winning the title because it made his whole title reign kind of like nothing, because he beat Ric Flair in a random show in Saskatoon that nobody knew about for weeks.
Right. And I guess they were thinking about the sales, about the kids. Think about the future of WWF. Maybe thinking about getting the I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. The only thing I can think of is them trying to push toys and kids to be the next generation.
I don't know about it necessarily being a screw job per se, but definitely a drop ball for sure.
They could have went a lot of ways with a lot of things. Like you said, I think the transitional would have been the best way to go. They could have came out with a nice story. Had Bret Hart be busy. Like he can win. He could have won from the transitional and then have them have a story. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have had a nice long story. I made it interesting, But I'm not Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I mean it's also weird because when there's not a lot of shows. He had a show. He had matches at every show after that, right?
Right.
So it wasn't like he wasn't fighting. It's just
he had a bleh. To me, okay. To me, it reminds me of the Drew McIntyre run. I mean, to me, I think that he was a boring champion, and it wasn't his fault. I just think the position he was in, but I think he was a boring champion. So that's probably what happened. He was in the middle of a boring run.
Bret Hart may be the excellent execution, best there was and ever will be, but kind of a boring champion. Not the guy that you're like when you go back and he had some great matches. Again, if he was matched with the right guy, but kind of a boring champion. And it's part of it is Brett doesn't have that charisma.
Right.
That.
You're right.
Whereas like
Do you know what I
Owen
mean?
was
Like no one ever talked
total
about
package. Owen had that charisma.
That's what,
and
Owen Hart was. That's why Owen Hart would have been the best Hart that come out of there. And I mean, they said he was everything. He's just, I mean, it's sad, sad that it happened. But I mean,
Brett was very dry. You can't just give Brett the mic and you'd be like I can't think of. There's not one Bret Hart interview that I'm like, oh, remember that Bret Hart interview? He said that. Not one. And I dare you to tell me a great Bret Hart interview.
The best thing I liked one of his promos, but it was real life, was when they screwed him and he goes, "This is bullshit." He starts pushing Vince and stuff. That was probably his best freaking promo I've seen. But other than that, I don't remember a good promo. I don't ever remember a good promo from Bret Hart.
Like when he showed up in WCW and gave that big promo, that was not good. Like, I don't remember any of it.
I can see Bret Hart watching this right now and then going to like sports bar and be like, "Yeah, these 3 clowns making fun of me."
Whatever. It is what it is. Like, and I feel like that's kind of what killed this run. You have a guy like, if you had Mr. Perfect do this on a house show, he could have came out of it and done great with it because he's good on the mic. Randy Savage, good on the mic. When you finally show him with the world title, he's gonna say something that you're like, "Holy shit!"
Right?
Bret Hart couldn't do that to you. No. So all of a sudden, you just have Bret Hart with a championship weeks later, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
It's like, wait a second, what?
He's like the guy. He's like the guy that you want to like. You want to like, but he's not really,
like that was one of those things where it's like, wait, like when did that happen? Like, not that we're not happy for him, but it's like, why didn't we get to see this?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And like that's probably. And I'll tell you the truth, man. That match was worthy of being a main event on a pay-per-view or live, because it was good. I mean, it was 30 minutes. I was to 30 minutes. I was watching it. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. So.
Yeah, and again, like you couldn't even tell Flair was dealing with any sort of drug
wrestling. They could have put it on prime wrestling.
You say what? Say that again.
But they could have put it on primetime wrestling.
Right.
They already got a recording for primetime. They put it on. If they put it on primetime, it would have been fine.
But do you think Flair actually maybe requested to be seen on less eyes? Maybe said I'll drop it only if it's like in a house show.
Yeah, I think Flair wouldn't lose to him on TV. I think that was a big part of it.
I mean, that makes sense to me. That makes sense.
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, but
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
When you get a guy like Flair with the title,
tell him no.
He doesn't want to lose it that
way. Right. I mean, but yeah, like I agree with you guys. It should have been a transitional. That would have made more sense. But like I said, we don't know what kind of conversation they had backstage. We don't know what.
I feel like we could have found somebody that would have done that, though. There had to be somebody that was a company man that would like. I think Piper would have. I think if Vince went to Piper and was like, "Hey, listen, Flair won't lose to Bret, but we want to put the title on Bret. Why don't you take the title from Rick, hold it for a week, a couple weeks, and then we're gonna put it on Bret. Bret's gonna beat you for it." I don't think that Piper would have had a problem doing that at all, and I think it would have elevated Bret so much more to start off his title run.
Right, and it would have been a legit win right on TV, and they would have, and people would have said, "Oh, it makes sense," but like you said, it didn't.
And it would have elevated Piper on his way out too.
Yes, it would have actually. It definitely would have.
Right, and given him something that I think Piper deserved to get the WWF Championship at least once, even if it was for a night.
Right.
100%.
But yeah, like you said, Bret Hart. To me, if we ask people, I don't think he's on the top 10 champ. As far as being one of the greatest, yes. But as far as being name 10 champions that you remember, I don't think he'll be. I think they'll forget that he was a champion.
I mean, he had what 5 WWF title reigns, right?
I think so.
Something like that. Yeah.
I
I don't think people will forget he was a champion.
I don't
Go ahead.
think none of them were really all that memorable, though.
yeah.
Like, none of those runs were
None of
really all that memorable.
Like I said,
Most-
the only ones I remember. Yeah, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, most of the few memorable matches that he did have were when he wasn't
And the
champion.
champion. Exactly.
I mean, it is probably his most memorable championship match was the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels. That's probably one of the ones he's best known for. But and then the one with Austin, he wasn't champion at all. There was no title. Neither one of them were in the title picture.
No. And I think that and the way they ended that was great. I like the way he just bled out and just passed out. That was awesome. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. To me, like back to the the screw job, whatever. To me, Bret Hart, as far as I think that in WWF, he is one of the people that enhanced the game. Even though but I don't remember him doing it as champion. See what I'm saying? As champion, I don't remember, but I do remember him on a lot of good fights that he had. But yeah, that's.
I mean, that's pretty much it, really. I mean, I kind of feel like that first title run, especially, was just a completely dropped ball.
Yeah.
Maybe might have been too soon for him, but at the same time, there really wasn't any other options.
Yeah, there was nobody
Yeah,
else.
I don't know why. I just don't think it was. I think they were just in a position, especially coming out of the steroid trials. You had guys you couldn't go to because of all the whole steroid controversy and all that crap going on. So I feel like Vince was probably between a rock and a hard place, and whatever was going on backstage with Ric Flair probably added to it. We'll never know the whole truth of that because none of them are ever going to tell us the real story. But I'd imagine there was probably some backstage drama, seeing that he did leave 3 months later. So there's probably some shit going on. But I mean,
creative differences. The creative differences is probably
the best way to put it, right? But I mean, the biggest thing out of this, I call it the Saskatoon screw job. Was this my final question of this? Do you think that this played a big factor in Bret Hart having not so great of a title run, or do you think Bret Hart played the biggest part in Bret Hart not having that great of a title run?
Bret screw Bret, pretty much. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, was there a Saskatoon screw job, or did Bret screw Bret? Final thoughts.
Go ahead, Amy. I'll let you go first. Ladies first.
Ultimately, I mean, I feel it didn't get off to the greatest start, but ultimately, yeah, Bret kind of screwed Bret, I think. I mean, he's just not. He just never did it for me. So, no, I feel like if anybody else probably could have done a better job.
Like we were saying, a transitional champion probably would have been better. I think that, honestly, for some way Vince was probably high on Bret. Did try to get another situation but he had to go only on Bret because, like you said, the pickings wasn't very much. But I guess this was maybe it was a go to see how he would do, and like I said, maybe with the kids sales and all this good stuff. So I think that as far as Bret being a champion, as far as watchable, or I think that's on him. He don't have much personality. To me, I don't think so. And I think that's what kind of kills his runs as champion.
Okay. I think I gotta agree with you guys. I mean, I think that other guys could have ran with this and done better with it. Winning it on a house show, he could have came out here and said so much. He could have just done so much better with it. Bret just not having great mic skills, I think, killed his title runs because he couldn't captivate the crowd outside of the ring. You can go in there and put in a technical masterpiece, but he couldn't get you emotionally involved because he couldn't provide the emotion needed to pull you in and make you feel it, right? Like, Wapo and I come from the promo world, and one of the things we do is it's about feeling, making you feel
it, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't feel it, if you can't feel, you can't get involved. You can't be invested into it. And Brett's biggest thing, I think Brett screwed himself by not being able to show feeling and get you invested.
The disconnection. Yeah, the disconnection with the crowd. That's
Saskatoon screwed.
I guess he's taking a picture.
Yeah, I guess. Screenshot.
Well,
Saskatoon screw job? No, I don't. Do I feel it was a screw job? No. Was it a drop ball? 100%.
I think it fit best too because Bret Hart did have a screw job earlier, so I think again it fits best. But I'm going to piggyback off of Sean Puff here, and I guess this is the Saskatchewan screw job. Our host Sean, Wapo, and this is Amy, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you, I guess, next one.
The Smarks in here, the Smarks in here, yeah. What you about to do before you do it. Say what? I telegraphed your every move and now you're just the coolest. Time to get into it. Moving to the music. The Smarks in here, the Smarks in here. Yeah.
I'm a smart mark. Yeah, I'm a smarky smart. I wrestle talk with Ollie Davis over Hallmark cards. We're pin cards subject to change, reigning the superstars. I got a love-hate relationship with pro wrestling. I'm a smart mark. Yeah, I'm a smarky smart. I wrestle talk with Ollie Davis over Hallmark cards. We're pin cards subject to change, reigning the superstars. I got a love-hate relationship with pro wrestling.
Oh dear.
What are you all daring about?